G'day, I'm Trent Maxwell,
And I'm Leigh Mason.
and we want to welcome you to our Live, Learn, Survive podcast. Since 2018, Leigh and I travelled the globe and met face-to-face with over 30,000 children in 6 countries across 3 continents. We created a series of award-winning children's books, a global online education program, and are founders of the Live, Learn, Survive charity, all focused on teaching children and young adults life skills that not only help themselves but help others too. We're on a mission to spread awareness about fire and water safety and first aid education to inspire the next generation of first responders. So join us for the next half an hour with some fun, inspiration and kindness, and we'll try and learn something too. How are you this week, Leigh? We have a special guest today.
Exactly, Maxie. I am good. I'm probably, by the time this goes to air, I don't know where I may well be.
Probably somewhere in Scotland.
Travelling,
Probably somewhere in
or
Scotland.
somewhere like that. Today I am great and excited, very excited today, because we love having a guest on. And I'm very excited about meeting this amazing lady, female firefighter.
And it's our first female firefighter we've had on the podcast, which
Absolutely.
is awesome.
And so I'm going to get straight in there and introduce her because I'm really excited for this lady to share her story to all the girls out there that maybe don't necessarily know what a female firefighting career might look like. I don't know. So I'm going to learn with everyone else. So
you're in for a treat.
Here we go, in the intro. So today we are joined by Erin Pogmore. So Erin has been a firefighter for 12 years, works for Fire and Rescue New South Wales alongside yourself, Maxie, and has recently been promoted to the rank of Station Officer. How amazing is that? So Erin has a passion for rescue and is a current water rescue instructor with Fire and Rescue New South Wales. She's also a member of the OZ2 Urban Search and Rescue Team and was the 2023 Rotary Emergency Service Community Awards and has been a volunteer with the New South Wales SES for 22 years. So I want to learn lots more about what Erin's role looks like. So welcome, Erin. It's been lovely to meet you this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Erin. Occasionally I see Erin out in the field. We're on 2 different shifts, but occasionally we do cross paths with its training or out at the prop out at the ESA. But it's always good to see you doing some amazing things for Fire and Rescue, and I look forward to having a good chat with you with these questions.
So, Maxie, what's the ESA?
Emergency Services Academy.
Oh, emergency service. Of course. So is that where you go and do the drills?
Yes, we do a lot of drills.
So when you're on a drill, you're at the Emergency Service Academy.
Yeah. So we do a lot of drills out there, and Erin with the OZ2 team, that's where their base is, and that's where they do a lot of their training as well. So
yeah. So let's hear from the lady herself. Enough of me and you. So, Erin, how long have you been a firefighter? We said 12 years. And what is now your role? I'm really keen for you to say what it's like being a female firefighter, because I think a lot of our listeners aspire to a career like yours, but probably wouldn't know what it looks like. So tell us about your role.
Yeah, perfect. So correct, I've been in for 12 years. Started off at a station and going through normal drills as being a firefighter, normal roles. And then I got to go to Hurstville Fire Station, which is a primary rescue station. And that was my biggest dream when I joined, to be a rescue operator. And that was pretty much, I had all my eggs in that basket, and that was all I dreamed of doing. But in the time that I've been with Fire and Rescue, I've been able to do the USAR, so the Urban Search and Rescue, which is our international team. Water rescue, which I'm currently a water rescue instructor working out of station life and now working sort of more day shifts doing training for other fireys. But the amount of opportunities in fire and rescue has just been great. I got to do a stint in the media team for a bit, which I quite enjoyed doing that, just doing a 6-week, running around, going to every incident that looked like it was going to be interesting, interviewing fireys, seeing what was going on. So it's definitely a very broad organisation with so many different roles that you wouldn't even think about. You hear firefighter and you think, oh, I'm just putting the wet stuff on the hot stuff, but there are so many different opportunities. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realise. Exactly what you just said. You think that you just, there's a fire, you go and you fight the fire, and all of those things that you just listed then, I would never have even thought of that. So can I ask another question, Maxie?
Yes,
I'll
go
sneak
for it.
one in. So when you go in to be a firefighter, can you go in with, like, say, I just want to work in media, or do you all sort of join and go in like on a sort of a similar path to start off with?
You know what? That's a really great question, because a lot of people don't know how it works. So we can either go through the firefighting ranks. If you want to join as a firefighter, you go through your 13 weeks at college, you become a recruit, and then at the end of your graduation, you get given a station. So you'll go out to a station and be a firefighter for a period of time. And some people will do it for a long period of time, and others will probably, I would say, Maxi, get their QF or their qualified firefighters.
Yep.
First, generally speaking, and then they can start to look at moving into other areas. So whether that's a non-station based role, which might be doing something like training or media, or they can start looking at trying to get into some of those more specialist roles. So we've got RPAS, so remote piloted aircraft systems, so basically drones, bushfire and aviation, the fire investigation, working with the canines. There's all sorts of different things, but you do start off as a firefighter at a station if you come through the firefighter ranks.
Yeah, and in the past we have spoken on the podcast about different roles that firefighters do. You just mentioned a couple of great ones there, but also the classic things that you might see in your local town or city, wherever you listen to across the world. You have hazmat, hazardous materials team. You also have a rescue team, which we've just spoken about before. An aerial appliance, so you might work at a station with a ladder truck, so they'll be able to use that for high-rise buildings and high-rise rescues. But yeah, there's so many different things you can do as a firefighter, and that's what I love, the broadness of it. And it's a great, I'm so fortunate. I've been in for 9 years and I love it. And I can tell how much Erin loves the job as well with the opportunity she's got. Going into question 2. So we spoke about in your bio, 22 years with the SES.
Yes.
I'm going to bring back the clock. When did you realise that you wanted to become a firefighter? So you've been in the SES for a long time, going into the firefight for 12 years. What made you go, I want to be a firefighter?
In all honesty, I don't actually know. So I started off, I remember Riverwood is the closest fire station to my house, and the crew from Riverwood came out when I was in kindergarten, and I was terrified of them. Absolutely terrified of all
Same, I was.
I was the kid sitting in the corner crying. And after that, Mum said she wished I'd never met them, because she said I dreamed about having fires in the house for months. So when I decided I wanted to join, I actually don't know what prompted it. I was working with the SES, so I'm a volunteer, but I also had a job with the SES in their media team. And I think I just got sick of reporting on what everyone else was doing and wanted to be
a part of it.
In there, yeah.
You had FOMO, didn't you? You had FOMO. You were talking about it and you wanted to do it.
And what you have achieved in 12 years is amazing, from not really remembering why or when you joined to where you are now. And we're going to find out more about what you do in the next couple of questions. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that, Erin. I thought it was something that was a little bit planned out, where you knew you wanted to do it maybe after school or so on. But yeah.
No, I decided I went on the website every single day, and I went on the website every day to check for recruitment for just over 12 months, just to see. So,
wow, that sounds like me when I first met Maxie. We knew every bit about when recruitment was going, didn't we, Maxie?
Yeah.
So, Maxie, I'm going to sneak another question in, because I just want to. My brain's gone blank now. Hang on, what was it? It was a really good question as well. Maxie, go to the next one. I'll come back.
Okay,
I'll come back to that.
The next question, Erin, can you tell us more about water rescue within Fire and Rescue New South Wales? I know it's a relatively new thing, but can you elaborate more on what water rescue is?
Yep, absolutely. Speaking my language now, Maxie.
Yeah.
So ironically, water rescue has been around in fire and rescue for probably 15 years or so. And we've got Shannon Crofton, he's a station officer as well. He brought it into the New South Wales SES when he was a volunteer there. He still is a volunteer there. But then he also brought it into fire and rescue. And for the last 15 years, he and another firey, Anthony Walgate, they've been running in-water training for firefighters and land-based training up and down mainly the eastern seaboard, And our water rescue in-water teams have always been based in Sydney at our accredited stations. So it sounds like a new discipline because a lot of people didn't know about it, but it has been around for a long time. And in fact, the first course that was ever run at Penrith for fire and rescue, Commissioner Futrell was on it.
There you go.
So
Small
when he was a
world.
firefighter back at Burwood Fire Station. So yeah, it's something that it's really exciting to get into this space because it's so hands-on and it's so involved in the community, and you get to be in, especially those really local, remote communities. We go in as a team and they just accept us and we do all we can. So it's a really great discipline.
It's funny, so because in the last 5 years, we've had bushfires, we've had COVID, we've had floods, and I know how much work you guys do. You seem to be always on call, but you are always doing deployments to these towns across the east coast and inland New South Wales the last couple of years, and it's amazing the stuff that you do, the amazing work that you guys do. Hats off to you. Hopefully one day I'm at a station that's attached to Swiftwater Rescue, because it's something that I'd love to be a part of one day.
Yeah, it's definitely very cool.
Absolutely. I remember my question, Erin, now. It was the levels and the ranks up to station officer. Can you just explain your path of what you went to? We followed a little bit of Max's, but so what levels were you up to station officer? What did you go through?
Well, we all go through the same process. So we start off as a recruit firefighter. Once you graduate from the college, you come out as a level 1 firefighter, and you've got 12 months to complete your modules, so learning activities and different assessments to get to a qualified firefighter. And the whole point of that is it gets you Max, you might have to correct me here, is it a Cert 2 in public safety firefighting?
Yeah, Cert 2 or Cert 3. Yeah,
Can't remember.
Maybe Cert 3
Yeah.
Cert 2. Yeah.
You know what? Senior firefighter goes to Cert 3. So then after you've become a qualified firefighter, you sit at that rank for a couple of years, and then you can choose to go on to become a senior firefighter. So the only mandatory one is to become a QF, qualified.
Yep.
And then after senior firefighter, you can go on to become a leading firefighter, one of the best ranks in the brigade. You can still be a firer, you can still ride the back of the truck, you can still go to the jobs, and you can also act up as a station officer when needed. So you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Can be very difficult, though, as a station officer when you're acting up, if you're still on the tools all the time, to not get too involved. So you've got to walk around with your hands in your pockets. And then from leading firefighter, you can go up to station officer, and then obviously there are other rank progressions after that if people choose to go through.
Yeah, I've heard that from meeting some of Max's colleagues and that, from when you're actually, like you said, on the back of the truck and on the tools, and I can't imagine Maxie ever not wanting to be on the back of that truck as much as you want to career progress. That's why you go into the role. That's the, like you said, there's that sweet spot where it's the perfect job kind of thing. So no, thank you for just explaining all of that for me. I took us all a bit out of sync then, Maxie. Sorry.
It's all good, Leigh. It's all good.
So you go next.
I was going to say, straight into question 4. So you just explained what water rescue was, but how do you approach training for water-related emergencies, and how often does your team train for these scenarios?
Another great question. So water rescue is probably the highest risk activity that firefighters will undertake. The big difference we find with a water rescue, once you're committed, and Maxie, you would be well across this, once you're in the water, you don't have the ability to communicate as clearly anymore. You can't just turn around and say, you know what, this rescue plan isn't working, we're going to step back and work out another one. So water rescue's incredibly dangerous because once you're committed, you're in, and you have to just keep going with it. So for us with training, risk assessment, we really like to train how we play. So we do a lot of natural environment training, and the whole point of that is with water, floodwater in particular, is really predictable. It's unrelenting, but it's predictable. So we want our firefighters to get in and to be able to start to learn the hydrology of the system. So what that water's doing, it's always going to behave a certain way when there's objects in the water, when the flow is moving a certain way, when you've got riverbanks structured a certain way. So we really like people to start learning that hydrology, because once you learn that, you're automatically going to be safer. And then there's no grey area with training for us with particularly PPC, PPE. If you don't have it on, you're not coming because it's so dangerous. And consistency. So we just try and keep that consistency up, make sure people respect the environment, learn the environment, and then they can keep themselves safe. Especially, Maxie, you would know, most of our deployments, we're not in a major metropolitan area. We're in a really remote location, and the team you've got, that's it.
That's it. So, exactly right.
Yeah.
And in the past, I have done a number of shifts at Hurstville Fire Station, particularly on Erin's old shift, A platoon at Hurstville. And, working there and seeing the guys get a phone call halfway through the shift to pretty much stand down, go home, give love to your families, pack your bags. You're meeting at the ESA, which is the Emergency Services Academy, at 0800 the next morning. And they're gone for 7 days, 10 days. And, it's literally, hands on deck for these guys. It's awesome to see.
Yeah. No, incredible. And I love... some of the things that we've talked about in some of our videos when Maxie's been stood, on the side of a river. And I love that, how you say you can learn the way the water will move. And it's so, it's so important, to just have that kind of knowledge. And I know Maxie tries to, even at the most basic awareness level, put some information out there that kids can just understand that, these places can look so tranquil, but they're actually
very dangerous.
Couldn't be further from the truth. So
especially underwater hidden dangers, situational awareness goes out the window. Very unpredictable.
What is always draining somewhere.
Yes, exactly right. And it's scary once you find out how things drain, and drain pipes and grates and all sorts of different things. It's quite scary. So yeah, keep up the good work with the education, Erin. I've been lucky enough to do some of the courses out of water. What's 62?
In water. Land-based. Land-based trained.
Yeah, so we're land-based trained, so we could assist with land-based stuff. But the in-water stuff is the next level from that. But, we were lucky enough to do some training with Erin and the team about 6 months ago down at Caringbah, which was great. Great PowerPoint, great presentation. We got to play around with the gear. It's so much knowledge, and it makes us better fireys. So we're very appreciative.
Absolutely. So
you're up, Leigh?
Sorry, me?
I'll say you're up, yep.
Yeah. So taking it back then a little bit, Erin, back to school days, would you say you got good career advice at school?
No.
You know what?
It's a very common answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm 42, or I'll be 42 soon, and it was so heavily focused on university degrees when I was at school. Trades were well out of fashion again, and it was all about you've got to go to uni, you've got to get a professional white-collar university job.
Yeah.
And that's not where my passion is.
If you don't fit the mould, then you kind of get either left behind, or you get left leaving school not knowing really what to do and where to go.
And that's exactly what happened. I went to uni. I just chose an arts degree because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and I ended up with studying industrial relations and human resource management. Yeah. But that was all still very much that corporate drive.
And I think it's, it was certainly the same, I'm older than you, and I think it was certainly the same in my day. It was university or, there's a few places, good luck, kind of thing. I think... one of the things that we're really passionate about at Live, Learn, Survive is that, academic is only one part of your life. It's far from everything. And some of the most successful people that have done incredible things, and not successfully, financially, just, have set their mind to something, done incredible things, will happily tell you they really struggled at school. We talk about Jamie Oliver, how many books has Jamie Oliver got? He's never written a book. He dictates them.
Mm.
Yeah, so there's always a will. When there's a will, there's a way, and opportunity to grow and be a better person and to learn. Every day's a school day, and it's something that we always try to remind ourselves, don't we, Leigh, each day, that every day's a school day. You're constantly learning. How you think you know everything is the day you'll fail.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And just brave enough to go out and do what you want to do rather than what's
100%.
the expectation.
Do what you want to do. That is a key message there. Do what you want to do. You're on your own journey, and it's very important to back yourself and believe in yourself. And going on to
100%.
talking about career advice at school, what's the best advice you've ever been given? Pretty big question, but just have a think. If you had to have a think, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
So I had a manager in the SES. His name is Steve, and he was just the best person I have ever worked for. Such a good manager. And it wasn't even so much he gave me advice, it was watching him. He was just the manager I would always want to be. He would step up, he would do the job first, he would never ask you to do something he wasn't willing to do. And if it was tough and the chips were down, he always had his team's back. So it's less about advice and more about watching those
Leadership.
people.
And isn't that it's often the way? I would say my first boss when I was 18, that she was my boss until I was about 23. Absolutely my best boss. And I still, even now, many, many, many years later, think back and think, what would Sue do? And it's exactly what you said, Erin. Sometimes it's not what they say, it's how they operate and what they do, and you just learn what a good leader is.
Yes, 100%. And
I so wanted to be like Sue. I was like, she was just a brilliant role model.
How are you going, Leigh? Are you like her?
Look, I try to think I am. I try to think the best advice that she gave me as I started to go into a management role, and I was still only a teenager, was people will not always like what you say, but if you can give them a reason why you did it, and if you're fair, you can do no more than that.
Yeah.
So I think that I've carried every single job. You're not, when you're in a position of leader, but you're not there to be liked. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you do have to make a tough decision. But if you're fair and people can understand why you did it, you've done your job.
Exactly right.
So that ended up being my advice, not yours, Erin. I'm sorry about
that. Leigh, you're up for the next one.
Question am I? Okay, alrighty. So I love, stressful part of the journey so far, Erin, an incredibly stressful job. What for you has been the most stressful part of this journey?
That's actually a really tough question. I think a lot of people would expect that people would say the jobs are the stressful part, but they're not, because you've got the crew. I think the stressful part comes with balancing the rest of your life because, and this isn't obviously just linked to firefighting, but we try to be so much in so many places and we have to be all things to all people. And the most stressful thing I think I have found has been since COVID, where you just couldn't turn off, because we took our work home where we could, especially if you're in a non-station based role, and we were available 24/7. Yeah. And that was corporate life as well. So I think that's probably been stressful, trying to rein that back in and have those boundaries again between work and life.
And switching off.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really interesting, because you would assume it is the jobs, but it's actually balancing it all.
Yeah. And do make life easy. It does become like your second family, and living at a station it's a really supportive environment. And we're the luckiest, I think, out of the emergency services, because we move as a little group together. You very rarely see firefighters moving around alone, and everyone just talks really openly. So we get to do that debriefing. So it's the job part, not so much.
There you go. And adding on to that, how do you deal with stress? If you're stressed, Erin, what do you do to eliminate that stress?
Ironically, working in the mental health space as well, I'm probably one of the worst people. I'm a bit of a bee in a bottle. I just bounce around and try to fit more in. So I'm a big list maker, so that I can physically cross something off a list. I find that's very therapeutic. But I live on a property, so I'm trying to get back into more learning about regenerative farming and having animals and taking time out and doing basically a technology detox, because that I find being connected to a device all the time, that's really where a lot of my stress comes from.
Yeah, there you go. Of all the guests we've had, it's a lot of the time it's exercise or podcasts or meditation, but you're the first person that actually says going back to a little bit of nature of doing stuff on your farm and clocking off from the technology world. It's so very important in this forever changing environment. The speed of change is crazy, and like it's a really good answer. The way do you deal with stress?
Absolutely. And I think, the detoxing digitally, one of the things that Maxie and I discovered earlier the year is, I think it's something, what was the statistic, Maxie? 57% of young people are anxious about feeling lonely. In a world we're supposed to be more connected than ever.
Yeah,
and we're not actually, we don't often use technology for good. And that's one of the things that we really try to do at Live, Learn, Survive is like, we know people are going to be on social media, and we know younger people, it's such an important part of their life. So if they're going to be on there, let's try and be a little positive corner of the whole thing.
And given.
Because it is like, we do everything on digital now. We read the paper on digital. We have that phone in our hand, even when we're maybe trying to catch up with the news. And then if you've got a notification on, or you're distracted down another rabbit hole. So I actually love like your getting away to nature. And don't they say, just walk on the grass, bare feet, walk on the sand, Maxie, you do it all the time, grounding. I was reading the thing the other day about grounding. It's so I hope you walk around bare feet on the grass a bit, Erin.
Yeah, just where there's no potential for snakes.
Yeah, and also the animals.
Yeah.
That could be a bit my So awesome.
All right, you're up, Leigh. Number 9.
So probably this leads into this. All the hobbies you like to do in your spare time.
Well, I don't have a lot of spare time, to be perfectly honest. So because I've moved away from Sydney, I do a 5-hour commute each day. So ironically, podcasting is one of my big things, because I spend a lot of time on the road. But yeah, really the farm that's becoming, my little sanctuary to just de-stress. And I'm an absolute bookworm. If you give me a book, that you won't see me again. I won't put it down till I'm done.
Adding on to those podcasts, have you got a podcast that you listen to a fair bit that you can recommend?
You know what? I'm actually loving I Catch Killers with Gary Jublin.
Yeah, so like crime thrillers, stuff like that?
Yeah, all the true crime, but I'm the biggest scaredy cat on the planet, so...
I should get a list for you. My Pilates friends, they're all obsessed with true crime podcasts. Yeah. Like the group chat is the latest true, and I'm the biggest scaredy cat. I'm like, I'd never sleep again.
Well, I put it off as I sort of turn off onto, the dirt road, because otherwise I struggle to open the gate without looking around thinking.
Amazing. Do you listen to audiobooks as well with that kind of a commute, or do you like physically reading the book?
I've only just started on audiobooks and I'm loving them.
Yeah, me too.
If the person reading has a good voice, then I'm there.
Yeah, me too. I've been really struggling reading, because I want to read and I'm 2 pages in and I fall asleep. But the fact I can multitask while reading in my ears, game changer. Love it. Yeah. Maxie got me onto some audiobooks.
Yeah, some good ones. Diary of a CEO is great.
Diary of a CEO is my binge podcast, and his audiobooks. Fantastic.
Great stuff. Erin, you've done a lot in the 12 years. What is your next career goal?
You know what? I'm really looking forward to going back to a station. So we're on our secondments or our EOIs, expression of interest, until the end of financial year. And then I'm heading back to a station for a bit to see what station life is like again as a permanent SO too. So I'm
Awesome.
I'm really looking forward to getting back to being on a truck. Leigh, you are absolutely right about the FOMO. If I hear the bells go off, which is how we get turned out to jobs at a station when I'm talking or training, I absolutely want to ditch what I'm doing and go and jump on the truck.
Yeah.
So, even if it's just going to automatic fire alarms, I still want to do it.
Yeah, still want to be a part of it. You love it.
So getting back into a station, do you know where you will go yet, or is that not decided until nearer the time?
No, so I've been given Eastwood Station as a reliever. So I will be based at Eastwood, but will travel around depending on where there are vacancies that need to be filled for the shift.
Amazing. What number is Eastwood, Erin?
59.
59. I'm one of the few non-fire and rescue people that knows station numbers. I spend a lot of hours in the car with Maxie driving and learning station numbers. So I'm gonna add that to my list. Amazing. So, if you weren't a firefighter, Erin, what would you be? What would you have done?
You know what? If I could go back and do it again, I would 100% go and get a trade. But I'd probably do something like horticulture or landscaping or agronomy, something more in that earthy kind of area.
Yeah. That's why you're leaning back to farming and things like that. It's obviously important to you in a hobby and something you'll pursue.
Yeah. And you know what? Cool. If I was strong enough, I 100% would be a shearer.
That's awesome.
I would take it now.
Shearer. That's great.
Amazing.
So this is bringing everything back to the reason why we have obviously to hear your story. But this question is for the young women out there. What advice would you give to young women interested in pursuing a career in firefighting?
So a couple of things. With everything that you're doing, if you're going to go into firefighting, go into it not as that big, strong firefighter. Go into it with compassion and empathy. It's a job that's really focused on people, and we need to remember that every single job we go to. And also, if you're thinking about doing it, try it. Don't dilly-dally, jump in.
Give it a crack.
Absolutely. And going confident, because the biggest barrier is your own brain. You're not always fighting against, how strong you've got to be or how fast. It's how much you believe you can do it. So, and find someone who you can talk to, male or female, and pick their brain.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah, and I'd say anybody, if you find somebody, I know that the amount of questions when Maxie and I have been out on the road that kids will ask of Maxie, or, I wouldn't think of one firefighter that I've met that would not sit down and have a chat with anybody that was keen, because it's just who you all are. And it's like, so, I would encourage anyone, just be brave enough to reach out and ask a question.
And especially find out what the job really entails, because and water rescue particularly, I think everyone looks at it and goes, oh, it's so Gucci. It's the sexy gear and you're wearing the wetsuits and the PFDs and the helmets. It's gross. Water rescue is the most disgusting discipline ever, because all the water you're going into is contaminated. Yeah. Firefighting is dirty and it's hot and it's sweaty. So before you go into it, find out exactly what the job looks like and really looks like.
It's like the Instagram perception reality, isn't it? It's the the photograph, the reality, of what, like you say, find out what it really is about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And adding on to that, get down to your local fire station, knock on the door, ask them for a tour, or ask them ask them questions, because to learn the job, you know what the job is about. So when you do apply or you go through the recruitment process, when you get interviewed, you can use examples of you trying to learn about the job, because it's more than just firefighting. And
absolutely,
we've covered that.
And go to different stations with different appliances. Go to head office if you can get out to Greenacre, or go out to the Emergency Services Academy. Ring them and try and book a tour, or just someone to speak to in a different area, just to learn what's involved.
Yeah, that's amazing, because I think that most people would not even think that that's an option to knock on the door at the phone. You're incredibly busy people. I came to visit, you guys at 62, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be in the way. I'll go. Like you're busy people. And I think that, I think it's really, it's okay. Knock on the door. The worst thing they might say to you is no, not now. Who are you? All those kind of things. Just be brave enough to ask a question. And
say no.
Get into it.
Even
exactly.
if throwing gear on as they're about to run out the door, they'll still be saying, hey, look, we're going to a job, come back later.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. So that's happened to me, Maxie. I've gone and got a coffee.
Yeah.
I'm like, I may see you in half an hour or another day. There we go. So that's incredible. So what advice would you give, Erin, to your 16-year-old self?
Stop listening to what everyone else wants you to do.
Oh, how true is that?
And do what's going to be easiest sometimes. Don't overcomplicate things.
Yes.
Because it's easy doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good advice. Yeah, Erin, before we do wrap up, our final question that we do ask our guests, can you give us a song that pumps you up and puts you in a good mood?
Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine.
Walking on Sunshine.
A classic.
Best song ever written.
Yeah, it's a classic. That
On
one.
YouTube, we can dance.
Oh, perfect backup dancing song.
Yeah, exactly.
So that song is added to the playlist, which is awesome because it is a very catchy, upbeat, positive song. So thank you for
and the best bad
suggesting
dancer you can do. Perfect.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Erin, that has been absolutely wonderful. I think, as I've said, I know we've got people in that they're listening to us. We've got an awesome young girl, even in Utah, who Montana, who supports her local rural fire brigade by going to take photographs and document some of their history so that it's got so it gets documented and it goes into the archives so it's not lost, with photographs of people, of the volunteers and in the crews. And it's like, there'll be so many people that maybe would want to be a firefighter that maybe too scared to try it, or think that I'm a woman, what does a female firefighter look like nowadays? So to have someone like you that can be a role model, that not just as gone on to firefight, but like an incredible career, and in 12 years to be a station officer, shows that's like a real guiding light for girls. So thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate your time and that you've come on to share your story. So and one of these days when I'm in Sydney, I'm going to come and knock at the door at 59.
Absolutely, please do. Thank you.
And say, Maxie's not talking to me today, Erin. He's like too busy. Can I come and see you? Yeah. No, it's been amazing.
No,
awesome. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
No, I was just going to say, I've known you for 9 years. I've worked with you for, on and off for those last 9 years. You're a great firefighter. You're a great boss, and I look forward to seeing you out in the field, and keep up the good work of what you're doing with water rescue. Even though it's been around for 15, 16 years, I actually didn't really know that. The fact that it's been a bit of a revamp the last couple of years with all the tragic floods that we've had. Yourself, Shannon. Shannon's a great guy, a good friend as well that I've occasionally met along my travels. You guys are doing great stuff, training and education. So keep up the good work, and I look forward to seeing you maybe at the big one when you're working out at 59 Station.
Absolutely. I think I went to one of your first house fires with you, Maxie, the back of Redfern.
You did. You
and
me and you were in the stairwell, and I still remember I didn't pull enough hose in, and when we called for water on, the bit of spaghetti hose, it was me and Noz. We had a little unit fire at Chippendale, and luckily no one was inside, but it was a good, decent unit fire, and it was actually come through as an alarm operating.
It did.
not a confirmed flyer. And we had Adam Hawthorne
Acting up.
as our LF. I still
Yes.
remember that job.
Yep,
So,
and that was an elbow standpipe instead of a normal one.
it's
on
one of
the
those
outside.
old Sydney streets. So
It was just the job you had to have. It was great.
It was good. But again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Yeah, brilliant, Erin. Good luck with all that you're doing. Good luck when you go back into the station, and maybe we'll meet in person one day down the track.
Sounds amazing. You guys keep up the amazing work you're doing.
Yeah, no worries.
We
Erin.
will for sure.
We'll have a quick chat with you after this, but we'll stop recording. And thank you again.
Brilliant, Erin. See everyone next week.
Bye.
From somewhere who knows where.